Okay, back at it, man. It's good to get back to work. So, day one, ready to roll. You guys, questions?
Yeah, we didn't really get a chance to actually, I don't know before, but about Jamison Williams signing this extension the day before the season. Just how was it to get that out the way before the season started? And just the thought process behind getting out the way early.
Yeah, it's good. As much as you can kind of get that business side out of the way, it's good. We were hoping it would have been done sooner than that, but it doesn't always work that way. So glad to get it done. Jamo's come a long way, and we expect a lot more out of him too. So it's good.
Obviously, a lot of talk about Ben Johnson this week, but Dennis Allen and you have a pretty lengthy relationship as well. He's been a good coordinator in this league for a long time. What is it about his defenses? What are maybe some of the hallmarks of what those groups do and why he's been so successful?
Very detailed. He's very detailed. His guys always play hard. Man, the essence of defense, man. They run, they hit, they challenge. And they make it hard on you. Nothing comes easy. He covers himself a lot, man. Like he's kind of been through it all. He knows where people are trying to expose that defense, and so he's got answers for everything. And like I say, when you accompany that with the way they play, that's why he always has really good defenses. So he's an excellent communicator, knows how to teach. Energetic, passionate. So all of those things are always going to rub off on your players. So I got a lot of respect for D. I got a lot of respect for all those coaches. It's a hell of a staff over there. It really is.
Rewatching that Packers game again the other day, it was clear they weren't going to let Hutch beat them, with the chips and kind of everything they were doing pass pro. How much do you expect the Bears, really every team, I guess, to do the same thing until someone else proves they can win opposite him or somewhere else on the line?
Yeah, I think anybody we play is going to I always think of what I do, WWD, D. And I would not let Hutch wreck a game. There's no way. So they will have answers. They're not going to let him just, particularly on passing downs, they're not going to let him ever have a one-on-one. And if they do, it'd be rare. So, or balls out really quick. So they will, and he knows that. We know that. It's understood. So that's the game he has to play, and that's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. But it also means other guys got to step up and win, and it'll be about us putting other guys in positions to where we think we'll draw some of those, and they got to win and win quickly.
Particularly your interior defensive linemen, do they have a little more in them than they showed in that regard?
Yeah, I do. I believe that. I think there's more to give everywhere. I mean, that's the most obvious. The coaches, right? The players, what we do fundamentally, technique-wise, how we set it up a little bit. And so I would anticipate us being much better this week.
In that
the
regard,
offensive line issues, so to speak, that probably had a big effect on the lack of the diminished running game. How imperative is it to get that going? Because it seems like everything starts with your running game.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. But we will. We will. We're going to be out there today, man. We're going to address it head on. We talked about it in walkthrough, the focus, the footwork, the little things, and we're going to make sure that we establish that today, day one in practice, and that we're on point with our footwork, man, our hat placement, all the little things, man. We're ID'd correctly. We're coming off the ball, and or if not, we'll do it again, and we'll get it right. We'll get it right, and we are going to be much better. We will be much better.
Your impression of the Bears offense in their first game under Ben?
Did a really good job. I thought I thought they played pretty fast. Those receivers were moving. I thought the shifts, the motions. I thought the O-line came off the ball. Swift ran hard. Quarterback played fast. It was. I thought it looked really good, man. Looked pretty good. Which is what I would expect from Ben's unit. So. Look, they get good players over there, and he's got the system in, and it's about attacking the opponent. And we got good players over here too, and we're pretty prideful, and so we just got to play our rules, apply our rules, and make sure that we get it right in practice and carry it over into the game.
you guys were very creative when he was here with some of the trick plays and stuff. How do you protect against some of that this week? And knowing that he does some of that, how does that help you? I guess?
Well, I think, look, you'll practice one or two things. You do for every opponent. But, I mean, I don't really care about trick plays. Let's just handle the meat and potatoes of an offense, a defense, what we think they're going to hang their hat on. And let's stop that first. Let's worry about that. Let's make sure we're all on point, and we'll handle the other stuff with our rules. You got to have proper eyes, man. We give you those rules for a reason. And look, they may hit us on one. That's all right. That happens. Get back in the huddle and let's go to the next play.
Or maybe you guys never ran it in a game that you're just especially conscious of, something that you practice but never.
No, look, we've got a menu, a very large menu of things. So there can be anything, but we'll be good. I mean, you can't sit there and paralyze yourself with what if. The most important thing is you'll get in trouble if you don't handle the nuts and bolts of an offense. If you can't stop the run, we bleed out explosives, then that's where you can get in trouble. So I'm not worried about the other stuff.
From that, we go through this with every loss that you guys have, the outside doubt. But after week one, after a new offseason, I'm not sure if you're familiar with all the opinions out there, but they are loud, as they seemingly always are. How much will that fuel your tank? How much will that fuel your message, if at all, this week to you?
What fuels my tank is losing, all right? That fuels me because I don't like losing. Our players don't like it. And you go back to work, man, and you get back to the basics of what you do, man, and you hit it head on. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. We're all accountable. And if we want to win, we got to do the little things right and prepare that way. And then we got to play that way. So that's what gets me going.
Given what you guys have accomplished the last 3 years, I mean, are you surprised by the alarmed reaction there, and do you feel like you deserve the benefit of that?
No, because that's where the standards are at now. So that's the nature of what we're in right now, and that's a good thing. That means that we've risen above what we were at one time. That's our world, man. That's our world. But I know that if we felt that way and acted that way, we'd be in trouble. And so we can't worry about all that, And I mentioned this the other day. All you worry about is getting better. You really do. We got to get much better with our fundamentals and communication. Just those two things alone. And if we improve that a whole nother step above what we did last week, we're going to be much better. And then let's get a little bit better the next week, and it'll take care of itself. It really will.
From the meat and potatoes perspective, Dan, they invested a lot in two rookies, in Loveland and Burden. I'm just curious, they didn't see a lot of balls their way in the opener. How do you prepare for rookies that are clearly going to be a big part of what they do eventually?
Yeah, well, look, they are both of those guys are good players. We like both of them, and Loveland's he's a mismatch piece, and look, he'll mix it up in the run game, but he's a pretty dynamic receiver, has dynamic ability, and he can stretch the field. He's big, he's long, he's got really good hands. So there's no secret they'll try to use him. And I just go back to this. There'll be times where where there's a one-on-one and we got to take advantage of that, or they will. And then we got to mix some looks up. And no different than any other team that we play with. And guys got to do their job.
When you face off against
Jeremy, John, Tim.
When you face off against a defense like the Packers last week that are kind of dictating all those checkdowns, what do you do as an offense to kind of flip the dynamic and make sure that you guys are the one dictating what they do?
Well, I think a lot of what really came out of that game and what it was like to me, if we'd gotten ourselves in a hole, and it really, when it became a 3-score game, that's where it really got hard. It wasn't a 2-score game. If you can just pull it within 1 score, we're good to go. But when you become a 3-score game, then it becomes very hard because now they know you have to go over the top. And so I do think when you play that, the right thing to do is to stay patient with it. You have to stop. Look, I mentioned this other day, you go 31 to 39, right? You got 30 minutes of time of possession, and you had 22 carries on the ground. that smells of you're winning the game. But we didn't do enough, right? It's not enough. And so we tried to play it right. We just didn't execute. And we had a turnover. And so I think what we did was right. And you have to just stay in that. You have to stay in that, Just play that game for a while, stay patient, and because I do believe we get in there, we get within one score, defense gets a stop. Now all of a sudden, man, you're good. You got times, you got timeouts, but you get in that type of game, it gets really hard.
With just how good the offense was last year under Ben Johnson, people are just wondering, myself just included, would it have been feasible just to, even I know John's a different coordinator, but would it have been feasible to just, Jared talked about changes in communication, there wasn't a lot of pre-snap motion. Would it have been feasible just to run the exact same offense as last year?
What are you asking? What did Jared say?
I'm saying your offense last year.
Well, no, you said something Jared said, so let me hear it.
Changes in communication.
Yeah, but you said something about emotions and
Yeah, I'm saying that would it have been feasible to, and people are wondering, the offense looks drastically different than it does last year. Would it have been feasible to just exactly run the exact same offense?
So after one game, tell me what it looks like that's drastically different.
Not a lot of pre-snap motions. Explosive plays weren't there. Wasn't as creative. Wasn't as.
You didn't see any pre-snap motions in that game?
As much as we've seen before.
I want you to go back and look at all of our motions, pre-snap motions, fast motion shifts on the road.
Last question. You talked about just knowing Allen. I'm just curious. They played really good defense for 3 quarters there Monday night. What on the tape stood out about their defense? And is it hard to evaluate when they don't have Johnson, Edwards, Gordon, some of those guys? Is that always tough when the defense or units are missing a lot of guys? I guess just what stood out about their defense.
Well, they played a lot of nickel, obviously, right, without Gordon and to your point, without Edwards and then Jalen wasn't out there. Those are 3 really good players for them, and I think they'll all be back. All right, I think at least 2 of them will be back. So, getting any 2 of those 3 is going to significantly. Raise the bar and help those guys a lot, just the type of player and then the communication. So, but what you see is a sound defense that plays hard and, and if they get those pieces back, it just gives them more flexibility to do more things.